So hence I call upon all stakeholders to come together and join hands with the Fijian government in breaking barriers and overcoming impediments hurdling the growth of Fiji. With these words, I once again welcome you to this launch. I now have the pleasure to request the Honorable Attorney-General and Minister for Economy, the man who is in the forefront of the technological revolution in Fiji, to say a few words and launch the BizFiji portal. Thank you very much. Vinaka.
But I'd like to reiterate essentially the words of the Honourable Minister for Industry and Trade in respect of the importance of this particular launch of this portal. As you know, we started this program in particular with the Singaporeans approximately 2 years ago, where there's been quite a lot of work being done behind the scenes. Of course, there's a lot of talk about improving the ease of doing business. But I think I'd like to take you one step before that. It's not just about creating the right environment for existing businesses. It's also about ensuring that we attract new businesses. It's also about ensuring that we hold the hands of new entrepreneurs. As you know, for example, we are focusing on not just job creation, but also people who will actually become job creators themselves, the youth of this country. And in order for them to be able to latch on to this new focus, we need to be able to provide the right tools, the right environment, and the right skill sets for them to be attracted to this particular segment of ours. Foreign direct investment is also very, very important for us. As you know, that nowadays capital is extremely mobile. Capital across borders is extremely mobile. In order for a capital investor to feel confident in any new jurisdiction, they need to be able to understand that there's a lot of transparency, that the laws that are there are readily available, the processes are extremely transparent, and the ease or the length it takes to actually get approvals is also seamless. It's also, we have a streamlined process. Interestingly enough, even before this launch, when we got all the agencies together, I think just from memory, and I've got the numbers written over here, there was something like 13 agencies that are involved in approving building permits. There are 9 agencies involved in setting up a business. Now, just by getting them all together and streamlining physically the processes, we were able to reduce the amount of time it takes by 40%. That's even without the intervention of technology. So now with the intervention of technology, we will be able to, in the next 1 year or so, provide even further reductions in respect of the time that it will take for approvals to actually be put in place. As the Honourable Minister highlighted, the idea is to eventually ensure that we have all these applications available online. You'll be able to launch these applications online and indeed get your approvals online. The idea, of course, is to have a tracker system so we know where, at what stage of your building application or permit or your business application is at. We, on the 14th of June, 7 days after the announcement of the budget, also brought the Companies Office online, where now you can actually go and do company searches. You can look at reservation of names, and eventually we'll of course be able to do registration of your entire company online. Now, what does this do apart from the fact that it creates an ease of doing business environment? It means that we are able to now get the actual consumer or the applicant to have a direct interface with the actual regulatory agency. Generally, we have a lot of interventions by lawyers, accountants, and other agents that sometimes can sort of in a way make things, simple things, look very complex. What we want to do is provide simplicity and, more importantly in all of this, objectivity. Because it's not only about ensuring that your applications are processed really quickly, it's also about ensuring that decision makers, that when they arrive at a decision, when they reject a particular application or when they approve a particular application, that they have based it on an objective test. That is very critical. As the Minister highlighted, previously you could turn up to a counter, whether it's the Lands Department, whether it's the municipal council or town and country planning, whichever agency it was that actually gave an approval, it sometimes depended on who was actually serving you at the counter on that particular day. So many of the agencies actually did not even have a checklist. So what this does is, apart from creating the transparency, it also lends to objectivity. I recently spent about a week and a half in Singapore, and frankly, after 3-4 days, I got really depressed. And the reason why I got depressed was I saw how efficient they were, and how they do things actually very objectively, and the transparent processes that are in place. So that, of course, apart from the initial depression, actually really sort of rekindled me to, get some new ideas as to what else we can do. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to highlight one thing to you, is that Singapore is where it is today, not only because of the government. It's there because all the other stakeholders actually equally participated in that space. They did not simply sit back and wait for government to do things. They did not simply sit back on the perimeter, on the periphery, and have criticisms. They actually have constructive criticism. They work collaboratively with the government, and were able to arrive at a particular scenario, or arrive at a particular platform where everybody benefited from it. So I think what we are trying to do is trying to create a collaborative environment. And I think there does, to be frank, to call the elephant in the room, there has been this sort of culture in Fiji with an us and them between the business community, with the FRCS and municipal councils, town and country planning, companies' office, etc. We need to get rid of that culture. We need to be able to say, let's all work collaboratively together, because at the end of the day, it's in all of our interests to ensure that we have an environment that's collaborative, based on collaboration, where we're able to fundamentally remove all the quirks within the system and have a seamless process. So the application itself is not the ends. It's what you want from the application. Your investment, your registration of the company is what matters. It's not the actual process. The process should actually just happen seamlessly. So that's what we are trying to do, ladies and gentlemen. There's a number of course, opportunities being created. The personal properties, securities that that was launched with the Reserve Bank of Fiji. I know there were many naysayers saying nothing much will happen. I think I stand to be corrected. There's over 15,000 registrations have already taken place. What does this mean? In simple terms, and unfortunately the media has not picked up much on this, it essentially means that small to medium enterprises can now actually have greater access to credit. They're able to use the same security for a number of loans or accessing finance. This is great, and we need to take more advantage of that. So apart from that, and apart from registration of companies, you'll see in this space in the next few months, as approved by Parliament in the last sitting, that the Companies Office will now put out some timelines where those of you who have businesses, if you're registered under the old system, please, you need to re-register. And by re-registering, all the information will be made available online. So if you have to next time go to a bank to get a further loan, the bank won't take a number of days to actually process your application. They simply can go online, have all the information available electronically, and decisions should be made within a matter of minutes. So that type of verification will actually help us, and of course help your business too. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, of course, thank the Singaporeans, and Mr. Soon, who's here. He's the man who's now, we should actually become an honorary Fijian. I would like to thank him for his input, and of course the dedication of the Singaporeans, and we find them to be extremely professional. I had a luxury of meeting some of the key ministers in the past week and a half in Singapore, and they are of course very, very supportive of what we are doing. We have also a number of other initiatives that we want to work together, of course, with the banks. I also urge the banks. I'd like to thank ANZ in this particular instance, where we now have the payment gateway. So a number of the processes, you can now actually carry out those applications and pay online. A very simple thing, like the registration of the birth of your child, now can be done through a mobile phone app. And you can actually make an appointment to say what time you'll come and pick up the birth certificate. You can now actually pay online through your mobile phone app, through your M-Pesa, etc. That is very, very important. And in fact, when I had a meeting with in Australia, even they don't have that particular process in place. So it's great, because what we need to do is to populate that idea, populate the use of technology amongst the general population in Fiji. And this is why government is spending approximately close to $40 million in the 2019-2020 budget to ensure that we have all these processes in place. It of course includes a national ID card system that we're rolling over. So you just have to remember one number, and that will feed into your tax number, your driving license number, your FNPF number, and any other types of numbers that you do have. You just have to remember one particular number. That'll make ease of doing business a lot better. It will also ensure that we as a country have the right securities in place. It also creates, ladies and gentlemen, before I finish off, there's a wonderful opportunity for our youth in this particular space, because it also creates jobs. It requires people with the right IT skill sets to be able to run all these systems, to run all these portals, to feed all the information. And of course, the Singaporeans have been very good partners. They want to build that capacity locally to ensure that Fijians actually take up these jobs. So I hope there are people here from the universities and various other organizations where they need to ensure that the different courses are available in the universities at the technical college levels that can actually provide the training and the right environment for young Fijians to actually take up these positions. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again, and I'd like to thank all of you who've actually participated in the trial runs in piloting this particular portal that we have. I'd also like to thank all the different agencies. I see NFA and various other agencies are here. I'd like to urge all the agencies, please remember that your job is to ensure that we have a seamless process, that we not actually become barriers to approvals. You of course have to apply the law, and applying the law does not necessarily mean taking ages to do it. You should be able to make the decision very quickly, very promptly, very succinctly, and of course in a very timely fashion. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for your participation. I now look forward to the launch of this, and as we said, there's a lot of wonderful things that will happen, and we look forward to your collaboration in ensuring that Digital Fiji actually reaches to the heights that we envisioned it should. Thank you. Unaka.